Today we're diving deep into a fascinating CNBC interview with Jensen Huang, NVIDIA's CEO. Sarah, this conversation was packed with insights about AI, competition, and even some surprising partnerships.
Absolutely, Alex. What struck me immediately was Jensen's framing of NVIDIA not as a chip company, but as what he called a computing platform company. That's a crucial distinction that many investors might miss.
Let's start with the competitive landscape. Jim Cramer mentioned AMD's Lisa Su, claiming their MI450 chip is every bit equal to NVIDIA's. But Jensen's response was fascinating. He immediately shifted the conversation from hardware to total cost of ownership.
That's classic Jensen Huang strategy. He knows the real moat isn't just in the silicon, it's in the entire ecosystem. CUDA, their software platform, has become the de facto standard for AI development. When he said, "You're not a chip, you're a platform," he was essentially saying they're playing a different game entirely.
And what about this vision of data centers as massive single computers? He talked about systems spanning 1,000 acres large, consuming hundreds of megawatts, gigawatts at a time.
This is where NVIDIA's strategy becomes really clear. They're not just selling GPUs anymore, they're selling entire AI infrastructure solutions, the networking, the switching, the software stack. He mentioned they invented the GPU back in 1996, but today that's just one component in a much larger system.
One of the most powerful concepts he introduced was this idea of intelligence manufacturing factories. Could you break that down for us?
Absolutely groundbreaking framing. He described factories that manufacture numbers, which in reformulated become intelligence. He called intelligence the most valuable thing the world's ever known. This positions NVIDIA not as a hardware company, but as providing the means of production for artificial intelligence.
Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, the Intel partnership. After what Jensen described as 33 years of Intel trying to kill us, they're now partners. What's the strategic thinking here?
This is pure business pragmatism meets long-term vision. Jensen said, "We're lovers, not fighters," which sounds almost philosophical, but it's brilliant strategy. The $5 billion investment, Intel building custom microprocessors for them, it's about ecosystem expansion rather than zero-sum competition.
And he made this interesting point about NVIDIA's keynotes, that when they present their vision, other companies' stock prices go up while theirs might go down because they're creating opportunities for everyone.
That's the platform mindset in action. He said, "I could imagine a future for the both of us where we could both win." In the AI gold rush, NVIDIA is selling the picks and shovels to everyone, including their former rivals.
Now let's talk about NVIDIA as an investor. Jim Cramer seems surprised by how hands-on Jensen is with investments, personally drilling startups for 3 hours.
This reveals NVIDIA's investment thesis. It's strategic, not financial. Jensen said they invest because they imagine building something together. The CoreWeave example was perfect. They helped build a new type of cloud. The company went public. Everyone won.
And now the OpenAI partnership. This seems significant because, as Jensen noted, it's the first time OpenAI will buy directly from NVIDIA rather than through cloud providers.
Huge strategic shift. It shows OpenAI's scale requirements have outgrown what they can get through Azure and other cloud providers. They need their own AI infrastructure, and NVIDIA is helping them build it. This is about preparing for the next 5 years of AI scaling.
Now to the tricky geopolitical question, China. Jensen was surprisingly candid here. Their guidance assumes China zero, but he made this nuanced argument about American tech stacks.
This was masterful geopolitical positioning. He acknowledged the need for America to win the AI race, but argued that complete bans hurt American companies more long-term because they want the world building on American tech stocks just like they built on the American dollar.
He essentially said a complete ban on China might hurt Chinese companies in the short term, but it hurts American companies more in the long run.
Exactly. It's about ecosystem dominance. If China can't access NVIDIA technology, they'll develop their own alternatives, and suddenly the American tech stack loses global relevance. NVIDIA understands that in platform businesses, ubiquity beats temporary advantage.
And throughout the interview, Jensen maintained this remarkable optimism. Even when discussing the China challenges, he said, "I'm always optimistic."
That optimism is strategic. He believes in what he called first principles, that it makes sense for America to win and therefore solutions will be found. This confidence is part of what makes him such an effective leader and visionary.
So what's the big takeaway from this conversation for investors and tech observers?
Three key things, Alex. First, NVIDIA has successfully transitioned from hardware vendor to platform provider. Second, their ecosystem strategy means they can partner with former rivals because the AI pie is growing fast enough for everyone. And third, they're thinking in terms of decades, not quarters, whether it's the China situation or AI infrastructure build-out.
And for our listeners who might be wondering, is NVIDIA just an AI bubble stock or something more substantial?
When the CEO is talking about building intelligence manufacturing factories and positioning his company as the foundation for what could be the most valuable commodity in human history, that's not bubble thinking. That's someone building the infrastructure for the next industrial revolution.
Powerful perspective. Sarah Chen, thank you for helping us decode this fascinating conversation.
Always a pleasure, Alex.
That's all the time we have for today on Tech Futures. Join us next week when we'll be discussing the impact of quantum